everyone, this is Rahul Malhotra from SFDC Stop, and in this video we are mainly going to learn how we can create a new VS Code project and how we can create a new scratch.org, and also we'll see how we can link our VS Code project to our newly created scratch.org, right? So just to give you an overview first, a scratch.org is nothing but a source driven and a disposable deployment of Salesforce code and metadata. So the words that we need to focus here is source driven and a disposable deployment. So let's say 10 developers are working on the same project. So what we used to do earlier, we used to have a single developer environment and then a QA environment and then a production environment, right? And we used to, and all the developers used to work on a single developer org. So there are very much chances where a single, where let's say one developer overrides the code of another developer, or let's say we are some of the developers are running test cases, so they need to run test asynchronously, and still they are confused that which of the test run is there and which of the log is generated by their user or something like that. I mean, the main issue was like the org speed was slow due to multiple developers that are working on a same environment, and we can say that we don't have a single source of truth. We don't know which developer has made which change in which particular file. We only know the last modified date of that particular Apex class, but we don't know how many developers has worked on them, and which developer has actually done which particular change, right? So nothing is clear in that case. So Salesforce actually come up with a new approach, and is saying to all of its developers, I should say, that hey, amazing developers, you can now focus on a on your source code, and you can now have your own separate environment or your own separate Salesforce org on which you can work. And how we can have our own separate Salesforce org on which we can work is that we can do that by using scratch orgs. So scratch orgs are a temporary orgs which comes with an expiration date, and we can actually use that scratch org for any kind of configurations or customizations that we want to make. And all the code, as well as all the page layouts, all the objects, all the fields, everything will be stored in a source format, and that will be stored in our version control system. So the next thing is, what is a version control system? As I said, that everything, whether it is a code or whether it is a I should say object, field, page layouts, everything that is related to a Salesforce environment can be stored in a version control system. So version control system is nothing but there are a category of software tools that help record changes to keep the files, by keeping a track of modifications done to the code, right? So as I said just now, that we can track how many modifications are there to one particular code and who did which modification, right? So this is the main advantage of a version control system. So what we are going to learn in this, I mean in the further videos also, we are going to use a centralized version control system. So this is the most common type of version control system that we use. And in this version control system we have a single server which is on which our repository is present. So a repository is nothing, if I talk about a repository, can be thought as a database of changes. So it contains all the edits and historical versions of the project. So let's say I have 10 Apex classes in my Salesforce environment, right? So I have all those 10 Apex classes in my repository, and it consists of all the changes that which Apex class was edited by which particular developer, right? So in this way, is it easy for us to track that which of the changes, whether it is a code change or it is a page layout change or any kind of changes, but we are able to track it very easily using a version control system, that which of the changes was done by which developer and when it was done, and what was previously there, what is there now, everything can be tracked, right? So Salesforce is actually giving us an opportunity to move towards a version control system and to move towards a source-driven development. So in that case, what we can do, we can actually keep all our standard and custom Salesforce stuff into a repository, and each developer can have their own copy. So let's say my developer one is working on its own scratch.org, developer two is working on its own scratch.org, and developer three is working on its own scratch.org. So let's say developer one finishes something, so he can directly commit to my particular repository where all the code is being merged, right? Developer 2 can commit to their own the same repository actually where the code is being merged. Developer 3 can also commit to the same repository. So I mean, we are talking in terms of code, but it won't work only in terms of code, but it will also work for page layouts, for fields, for validation rules, for any kind of stuff that you are doing in Salesforce. It will work for that too, right? uh, we'll also see, I mean, we can make different branches in a repository, and we can do a lot of stuff using version control system. So we will learn that in future videos. For now, I can just give you an example using HTTP callout framework that I created previously. So let's say I came to this project around 6 months, 6 months after today, and I want to see that which bug was fixed by me before closing this one. So I can directly click on that particular commit, and I can see which were the changes made by me. So version control system is capable of telling me that, hey Rahul, at this line number you had written this date, which is 5/12/2019, but now you have updated this it to this particular date, which is 5/4/2020 or something like that, right? So I think you are able to see now how a version control system actually track the changes that we are doing. And it can also tell you that if you are not changing a line number, or if you are adding a new line or anything else. I mean, even if it is a standard change, it is tracked in XML files that are there. So everything is there in a version control system, and this is your single source of truth. So let's say, if your scratch expires, you can just pull all the data of your org from your version control system, and you can push it to a new scratch. So Salesforce is actually suggesting us to to do feature driven and source driven development, so that we can actually work on each particular feature in a particular scratch, and then that scratch automatically expire, and we are actually developing a new feature in a new scratch or something like that, right? So yeah, let's begin and let's see how we can create a scratch org. First thing that we need to do is to create a developer hub. You can create your dev hub anywhere. If I show you here, just give me a second. So there are some limits when we actually enable our dev hub. We can either enable our dev hub in a developer edition or a trial. We can also enable it in an enterprise edition, in unlimited edition, or in performance edition, right? So in developer edition right now, we can create 3 active scratch orgs and 6 daily scratch orgs. In enterprise edition we have larger limits. In unlimited edition we have even larger limits, as well as in performance edition. So I'm going to use my developer org, and I am going to convert it into a developer hub, and then I'll create a brand new scratch org out of that developer hub, right? So let's go to our developer org. So this is the developer org. You just need to go to setup, that you can navigate from here, and you can then search for DevHub. So once you search for DevHub, you will see here that you have an option of developer hub, right? Just click on that, and here you have an option to enable your DevHub. So just toggle this button, and just note one thing, that once you have enabled your DevHub, you cannot disable that. And once you will enable this DevHub, you will have some of the objects automatically enabled in your org. Like let's say, if right now I'm searching for active scratch orgs or something like that, so I'm getting no results, right? But once my DevHub is enabled, I will have those objects like active scratch orgs and how many total scratch orgs are there which I created using this particular developer hub. I can track those here. So for each scratch org, I will be having a record created in my DevHub. So this DevHub is nothing. I can say that it is a home for my all the scratch orgs, right? So let's enable this. So I'm just toggling the button, and my DevHub is now enabled, right? So I can now search for my active scratch orgs. So, okay, just refresh the page once, or I think I need to refresh the page once. And let's search for active scratch orgs now. So my DevHub is enabled, and if I search for active scratch orgs, you can see that I have an option here. and it will show me all the scratch jobs that are currently being active in my DevHub. So I can see that right now I have no scratch jog that is created using this particular developer hub, right? So let's see how we can create a scratch jog now using this developer hub. So all I need to do is that I need to go to my VS Code, and before creating a scratch jog, let's create a project first of all, right? So I'm going to go to file, and then I'm going to create a new project. Oh, I don't need to go to file. I can directly use my command palette. Let's see, create a new project as we did in case of our when we actually linked with a non-scratch jog. It is the same procedure. But in this case, we can even use create project instead of create project with manifest. So I'm going to use that. Okay, let me try once again. I think the extensions were not enabled. Yeah. So I have created a new project, and now I need to check what type of project I want to create. So let's keep it standard itself. I need to enter project name. So let's say I'm naming it as scratch org1, and then I need to select a directory where I'm going to create a new project. So I'm keeping it the default directory itself, and it is now running and it is creating a new project for me, right? So let's see how we can link this project with a scratch jog and how we can create a new scratch jog, right? So this project is created now, and what I need to do before creating a scratch jog is that I need to link to my developer hub, because whenever I'm creating creating a scratch jog using Salesforce DX CLI, I should know, or my system should know that hey, this dev hub you need to use to create a scratch jog, right? So your any scratch jog that you are creating, it will be linked to that particular dev hub. So we first need to authorize our dev hub. So how we can authorize that? We just need to open a new terminal. So you can just open a new terminal, and you can write a command which is sfdx force auth web login. So I'm going to log in using web, that is my browser, and what will be the parameters in this? It will be my default DevHub username. So you can have multiple DevHubs, but one DevHub should be your default DevHub. So for that, you have different parameters, like you can set the default DevHub usernames, and you can also give a user friendly name to this DevHub. So let's say I'm keeping my default DevHub username as let's say -d, and my DevHub username is um what is this org? Let's say Curious Fox. So Curious Fox DevHub, and I'm keeping it as default. So -d is for default, and -a is for my alias of my DevHub. So this alias is Curious Fox DevHub. So let's enter and let's see how it goes. So this is the default DevHub username that I'm setting, and now it will automatically open my browser so that I can log in into my DevHub and authorize that. So you can see that it has opened my browser and I can log in into my DevHub. So I'm directly going to log in, and CLI is asking for the information, so I'll click on allow. So these are basically the same steps like we did in the last video when we were linking it out with our developer org, right? But here we are actually linking it with our DevHub. So I'm logged in into my org, and I should see that yeah, successfully authorized this org with org ID this, and you may now close the browser. One thing I want to show you here, that you will see a .sfdx folder created automatically, right? And if you will go to this sfdx config JSON file, you will see that your default devhub username is already set that you have given in this command, right? So this is the default devhub username that will be used whenever you are going to create a scratch jog using VS Code, right? So this default devhub username is already set. So now it's time to create a new scratch jog. Let's open our command palette using Control plus Shift plus P. If you don't know about this, you can just watch my other video regarding the commands, or you can directly open command palette from here too, right? So open your command palette, and you need to write create a new scratch jog, right? So we have an option here is create a default scratch log. So this default scratch log is nothing but a scratch log for this particular project that I'm working on, right? So I'm going to choose this, and it is telling me that which JSON file I should use or which configuration I should use to create a new scratch log. So this configuration is actually stored in the config folder with the name project scratch config scratch def.json. I mean, it consists of a lot of features. Let's say you want to have multi-currency enabled in your org, so you can have multi-currency automatically enabled. If you want to have live message, you can have that. Let's say you want to have something else. Let's say you want to have chatbot enabled, chain data capture events enabled in your org that you're going to create. So you can directly enable it through the configurations, and it will be enabled for you when the org is created, right? So you don't need to actually do again and again. If you want to enable person accounts, you can do that very easily. So if you remember, when we have to enable person accounts, we actually need to raise a case with Salesforce and then enable our person accounts. But in Scratchok, these things are very easy, right? So for now, I'm going to keep these things as it is, and I'm going to use this project scratch JSON file to create my Scratchok, right? So let's get back to our command palette, and I'm going to create a default Scratchok. This is the file that I'm going to use. Yeah, it's perfect. Now I need to enter an alias for my Scratchok, so I'm giving the same alias as my project name, which is scratch org1, right? And now I need to give the number of days until the scratch log expiration, right? So I want to specify now that whether my scratch log will be expired in 7 days or 1 day or 30 days or something like that, right? So I'm giving it 30 for now because maybe we'll be working on this scratch log in the further tutorials. So I'm giving it 30 and I'm going to press enter. So you can see here that it is now creating a scratch log for me. And if I go to the output window and I select Salesforce CLI here, I should be able to see the command that it is actually using to create a new scratch log for me, right? So let's see if our scratch log is created successfully. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so we have the option, and it is saying me that the default scratch log successfully ran. So now my scratch log is automatically created, and if I again go to my sfdx config JSON file, I'll see here that my default username is set, which is the name of my scratch log or the alias that I gave here, which is the same as scratch log1, right? So this file is very useful if you want to see what is your default username or what is your default DevHub that you are using, right? Even if you have multiple DevHubs, you can directly open this file and change the default DevHub username here, and your scratch logs will be created using that DevHub username, right? Okay, so now my scratch log is created. So the next step that I need to do is to open my scratch log, right? Because my project is already linked with my scratch log. So I'm going to just open my command palette, and I'm going to open my default org. So default org is the scratch log for this project. So let's choose this, and it will automatically open my scratch log. So you can see here that my DevHub org is curious folks something something, and the scratch log that is right now created is agility computing 1785. And if I go to my scratch logs page and I refresh here in my DevHub, I can simply see here that a new scratch log is created, and the org name is demo company and the edition is developer edition. If I want to see some other details, I can see that in the record. It is active for 30 days. The expiration date is 21st of May, uh, 2020, and this is how it's created, right? Okay, so my new scratch log is created now, and what I need to do now, I have my new scratch log, and let's do one thing. I'm going to create a new field, and I'll see whether I can fetch that or not, right? So I'm going to do just one thing, right? For now, I'm going to do create a new field under account. So let's say I'm creating a new field under account, and my field name is, let's say, account rating or something like that. Let's say I'm giving a number from 1 to 5 for my rating. So I have chosen a number field, and my field name is, let's say, account rating. Okay, I'll actually, leave everything as it is, and I'll continue because I want to show you how the standard stuff is actually being fetched, right? So let's keep it visible, and we are going to save this. So what I did, I just created a scratch log and I added a new custom field to my account object, which is account rating. I mean, this is a purely empty scratch log. I can show you anything, right? Let's say if I open Apex classes, I won't be having any classes there. Everything is empty. This is a brand new scratch log that we just created, right? So I'm going to fetch this account rating into my source code because a scratch org or an org in this case is not my source of truth. The source of truth should be my code. So let's go to VS Code and I'm going to just pull data from my scratch org. So whenever you want to pull something, you just need to execute this command pull source from default scratch org and press on enter. So it will automatically pull all the data from your scratch org. Okay, so let's see if our data is being pulled successfully or not. I think it should come under objects. Yeah, it is there. Okay, so let's see what are the things that this code has pulled now. So when I created an account rating, first of all, I created a custom field. So custom field is pulled. Yes, that's fine. I actually added my account rating by default to my all the layouts. So the layouts are being pulled, and my profiles that are affected from that account rating are also pulled. Right. So I have everything that is being affected from the creation of a single field. Like my admin profile has given access to that particular account field. My other profiles are also given access to that particular account field. So though all those profiles and layouts and custom field is automatically pulled into my VS Code. So I can see here that my rating field is actually coming as an XML. It is not required. It has a length of 18 and everything else is there which consists of the metadata of this particular field, right? And even if I go to profiles, I can see that my admin profile is there, and I have my account rating field in my admin profile that I just created, right? So let's say if I make some changes, or let's say I created a new Apex class. So I'm just going to create a new Apex class, let's say my class for now in my VS Code, and I want to push that Apex class to my scratch log. So let's see how I can do that. So let's say I'm just adding a constructor here, debug. This is my first class, right? And I'm going to save this. So I have deploy to save enabled here. So I'm going to, I mean, it is going to push to my scratch log automatically. Otherwise, you can just open command palette and use this command that is push source to default scratch log, and it will be pushed. So my SFDX CLI actually pushed my Apex class to my scratch log. So let's go to Apex classes and let's see if my Apex class is there or not. So my Apex class is there. Okay, so I got to know that I can create something in my scratch log. I can pull it in my VS Code, and I can create something in my VS Code, and I can push it to my scratch log. So that's working perfectly fine. Now let's talk about the deletion. So let's say I actually deleted uh, these classes and its metadata file from my folder, right? So I'm going to delete it from here, and let's say if I delete it and I again push to my scratch log, let's see what happens. So I'm going to push to my default scratch log. Okay, it's pushing. Yeah. So it has pushed to my scratch log and it is showing me the response as deleted my class and deleted my class, right? So if I go to my scratch log again and I again refresh this, I can see that my class is being deleted, right? So this is how it is so easy to deal with VS Code and scratch logs as they're automatically synced with each other, right? So let's do one more thing. Let's say I make some changes in my field, or I can directly delete this field. So let's say I delete this field from my scratch log, and I'm going to delete this. So this field is deleted. Okay, let me check. Yeah, this field is deleted, and I'm going to take a pull from my scratch log now. So let's see what I have. So I have taken a pull. So it is showing me that I have deleted this custom field. So what we got to know is that if we are deleting something from our VS Code, I can directly push it to my scratch log, and that's having a real-time effect. Even if I'm creating something, I can do that. And if I'm deleting something from my scratch log, and I can directly pull it down to my VS Code. So these both the org and the VS Code are in sync, right? So in the next video, we'll learn about Git, and we'll see how we can push all the code that is there in my VS Code to a new GitHub repository, and how we can track the changes and all that stuff, right? So till then, have a good day. Bye bye.